Federal immigration agents have arrested another international student for pro-Palestinian advocacy, and the U.S. Supreme Court has upheld a Biden-era rule regulating ghost guns. Good morning. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. President Trump says he'll impose 25% tariffs on all automobile imports. These are supposed to start April 2nd. It's the same day Trump says he'll impose reciprocal tariffs on other nations that have tariffs on U.S. products. And NPR's Franco Ordonez says that's on top of aluminum and steel tariffs that Trump is imposing, as well as on other goods.
And he argues that they're an important tool to be used for leverage on things like national security and other U.S. interests. But most economists say tariffs raise prices for consumers, and that could hurt the economy. Trump often uses them as a negotiating tool, and that has really made economists even more worried. And that's because of the uncertainty that they cause, and you see that in the markets.
NPR's Franco Ordonez reporting. Federal immigration agents have arrested another foreign-born student for her pro-Palestinian advocacy. NPR's Adrienne Florido reports she's a Tufts University doctoral student who was picked up near her apartment outside Boston.
A security camera captured 6 agents, most in plain clothes and covering their faces, surrounding a startled Rumeysa Öztürk as she was about to cross the street Tuesday. Öztürk's lawyer says she's a Turkish national on a student visa. Last year, she co-wrote an op-ed criticizing Tufts University leaders for not condemning Israel's bombardment of Gaza. In a statement, a Department of Homeland Security spokeswoman accused her, without evidence, of engaging in activities in support of Hamas terrorists, the same claim the government has made about other non-citizens it's arrested for deportation in recent weeks. Shortly after Öztürk's arrest Tuesday, a federal judge ordered the government to keep her in Massachusetts, but a day later, records showed her as being held at a detention center in Louisiana. Adrienne Florido, NPR News.
The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld a Biden-era rule. It requires serial numbers and background checks for firearms made from kits. But as NPR's Martin Costi reports, gun kit designers are not giving up.
The High Court found that kits that supply almost everything to quickly and easily make guns are, in fact, guns and subject to federal firearms regulations. Gun kit pioneer Cody Wilson says his company is already adapting, making kits that he hopes the courts will not see as guns under this ruling.
I see a new set of products that take a little longer to make. You don't send every single part in the same box, and you use uncommon tools.
Gun control groups welcomed the Supreme Court's decision, saying the Biden regulation had decreased the number of crimes involving untraceable ghost guns made from mass-produced kits. Martin Costi, NPR News.
The opposition party in South Sudan says that its leader, the country's vice president, has been arrested. The United Nations is warning his arrest comes as South Sudan is back on the brink of civil war. The Secretary of Homeland Security has visited a notorious maximum security prison in El Salvador. NPR's Ada Peralta reports that's where the U.S. recently deported more than 200 Venezuelans.
Federal courts are reviewing whether the Trump administration can summarily deport Venezuelans suspected of being gang members. Earlier this month, they sent more than 200 to the Secot, a prison the Salvadoran government has used to jail members of the gang MS-13. The Salvadoran government has touted the tough measures in the prison and the fact that the prisoners will never be allowed out. The Secretary of Homeland Security toured the prison but didn't talk to prisoners. At the end, she recorded a warning.
If you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face.
Noem thanked El Salvador for jailing who she called, quote, our terrorists. Family members of some of the prisoners have said they are not gang members at all. Ada Peralta, NPR News, Mexico City.
A bill is advancing in the Florida legislature that would remove current child labor protections for 16 and 17-year-olds. From member station WFSU, Tristan Wood reports their employers could require them to work full-time and even overnights on school days.
Supporters say the bill would allow parents and families to make decisions about their children. Critics are saying it's coming up now to make up for labor shortages in the state due to crackdowns on immigration. They're pointing to these comments Florida Governor Ron DeSantis made at an immigration roundtable last week.
Why do we say we need to import foreigners, even import them illegally, when, teenagers used to work at these resorts? College students should be, all this stuff.
Loosening child labor protections has become a growing trend in recent years, with over a dozen states reducing their protections. It's unclear if this bill has the votes to pass. For NPR News, I'm Tristan Wood in Tallahassee.
I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News in Washington.